Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television's on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his order to pull police officers of VIPs and return them to core policing. He stated this minutes before presiding over Federal Executive Council at the State House, Abuja. He directed the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, to liaise with Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun and the National Security and Civil Defense Corps to immediately replace within escort. Vice President Kashim Shettima has described the rise in number of out-of-school children in the country as a national emergency, requiring unified and sustained action from all tiers of government and critical stakeholders. Speaking in Abuja at the 2025 Nigeria Education Forum organized by the Nigerian Governors Forum in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Education and other partners, Shettima said the crisis in the education sector could not be solved by government efforts alone. The millions of out-of-school children represent a national emergency requiring joint action by the federal government, the state, local government, and community stakeholders, he said. As the world marks International Human Rights Day, legal experts and advocates are calling for stronger compliance with human rights laws, especially as insecurity across Nigeria continues to threaten the nation's most vulnerable groups. Over now to Aniti Patrick's report.
Justice Anukam of the African Court on Human and People's Rights says Nigeria has strong legal frameworks from the Constitution to the African Charter, but compliance remains the biggest challenge. She stresses that while violations are easy to identify, the real gap lies in providing repatriations, policy changes, and protection for vulnerable groups, including women, children, and internally displaced persons.
The IDP, which is a major concern this year, I sincerely hope that we will be able to make the necessary adjustments. And the theme for this year is human rights, everyday essential.
Special Envoy to West Rights Protection Service says peace remains the first step towards justice as insecurity, kidnappings, and forced displacements continue to undermine basic rights across Nigeria.
Doing our best.
The economic team lead for West Africa of the International Human Rights Protection Agency, Dr. Aisha Lawal, says it is expanding humanitarian support, especially medical aid, to displaced communities across the country.
Off the grid, we're all involved in trying to make this program that we can actually reach the needy and the needful. It's not about a speech. It's not about, how many people we want to access. It's about how many people can, how many people we want to access. It's about how many people can actually come to the table and do the needful. The system, the country is a little bit divided, and we believe with this, our program, we'll be able to reach people from different destinations.
For religious leaders, balancing rights across Nigeria's diverse communities remains critical.
And if you look at most of human rights violation, there are three main roots: spirituality, ethnicity, the one you have to do with the issue of sufficiency. Sufficiency have to do with the economy, money, things you need, but spirituality have to do with people's devotion to God.
As Nigeria joins the world to reflect on this year's theme, human rights, every day, essential advocates say the message is clear. Rights must be protected everywhere, for everyone, every day. Aniti Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
As reports of bandit attacks begin to emerge from some communities in Kano State, a civil group known as One Kano Agenda has called on security agencies to intensify efforts in safeguarding lives and property, especially in areas bordering Katsina and other bandit-prone states. Addressing a news conference at the NUJ Secretariat in Kano, the group expressed concern over the recent spike in kidnappings across several communities, warning that the situation poses a serious threat to the state's peace and security. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin tells us more.
In recent times, bandits operating from Katsina and Zamfara State have begun launching attacks on farming communities within Kano State. Reports of kidnappings and violence, particularly in Shanono local government area, have drawn the attention of a civil society group known as One Kano Agenda.
Despite Kano's proud in the history of peace and hospitality, the state is increasingly confronted with reported insecurity, multiple cases of abductions, attacks on residents, and the suspicious activities in various communities, particularly in the area of Kano. These challenges not only threaten Kano residents, but the broader northern region, because Kano serves as a home and a hub for all northern Nigerians.
Residents warn that being the commercial hub of the northern Nigeria, Kano must not be allowed to become a breeding ground for criminal activity. They stress that insecurity poses a serious threat to the region's economic stability.
Once anything touches Kano, you are touching the whole of Nigeria as a whole, because it's the commercial center of the country. My own personal view is you have to dig down and go to the root of the cause. So that will give you an insight of how to prosper a solution to what is happening.
While commending the efforts of the state government and security agencies, One Kano Agenda urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious individuals or activities to the appropriate authorities.
Recent credible reports highlight the presence of unknown individuals operating motorcycle and the commercial Okada across multiple localities. Many of those individuals do not speak Hausa fluently. This creates fears and suspicion among us. But Alhamdulillah, we must thank God at this juncture for the decisive and the swift action of the government in collaboration with the security expert.
The group also pledged not to remain silent while criminal elements endanger the peace and development of Kano State and the country at large. From Kano,
The Nigerian Navy has reaffirmed its dedication to improving grassroots education through its special intervention, quick impact projects with the latest initiatives commissioned in Otenkpe Okeleyin community of Boka in Oboka local government area of Benue State. Facilitated by Rear Admiral Robert Oboya, the project reflects the Chief of Naval Staff's commitment to strengthening civil-military relations and advancing the federal government's deployment objectives. Our correspondent Felicity Indere reports.
It was a moment of celebration in Otenkpe Okeleyin community as the Nigerian Navy commissioned 3 newly constructed classrooms with a staff room, alongside the renovation of 5 additional classrooms and other educational facilities at Otenkpe Okeleyin Primary School in Benue State. Before now, the school was in poor condition, cracked walls, leaking roofs, broken decks, and dim classrooms, with some lessons held under trees and years of neglect hindered effective learning. The Special Intervention Quick Impact Project, undertaken by an illustrious son of the community, Rear Admiral Robert Oboya, marks yet another significant milestone in the Nigerian Naval Civil Cooperation efforts.
And I'm always concerned about education. And education starts from the primary level. And that is one of the most important levels, education, before you get to the secondary level. That's why I looked at this primary school. I said, if we want to improve education within our communities, the best place to start is with the primary schools, so that the students here will start striving higher.
Representing the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, Commander Muhammad says the project provides a way for the Navy to honor its accomplished senior officers, party, and also contributing meaningfully to national development.
I wish to enjoy the beneficiaries of this project, whom are the pupils that gave us some nice presentation a few moments ago, that you should please take care of these facilities and let it endure. Treat it as your own, so that it will be available for your continuous use and for those that will come after you.
Speaking on behalf of the Deputy Governor Sam Odi, Chairman of Otokpo Local Government Area Maxwell Ogiri commended the Nigerian Navy.
The effort of Rear Admiral Roberts Obeya, and we must encourage this one so that others will be challenged to do their quotas for the growth and development of the community.
The commissioning handover of renovated classrooms, a headmaster's office, latrine facilities, and school furniture at Otankwe Oklanyi Primary School. From Okpoko Local Government Area of Benue State, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuggar, has affirmed the federal government's resolve to alleviate Nigerian-Thailand ties to strategic partnership comprising political, economic, and cultural collaboration. Now, Tuggar disclosed in a statement issued through Al-Qasim Abdul Qadri, the Special Assistant on Media and Communications Strategy, against the backdrop of bilateral meetings with Thailand's counterpart, Sheikh Putupul. Tuggar congratulated Sheikh on his appointment and offered condolences on recent international losses, including the passing of Queen Mother and victims of natural disasters. Moving on now, the former Minister of Health, Professor Oyebuchi Chukwu, has described antimicrobial resistance as a silent pandemic, so also a major problem that should be funded not only by the international donors, but domestic funding as it is deadly. Professor Oyebuchi Chukwu stated this during the Commonwealth Partnership for Antimicrobial Stewardship Nigerian Closed Out and Sustainable event. Over now to Zarau Nasiru for more details.
It was a gathering of medical professionals, academicians, representatives from the NCDC, NAFDAC, with non-governmental organizations and other related fields who gathered to discuss progress, challenges, with future initiatives concerning antimicrobial resistance. Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu added that West African Sub-Sahara have the highest mortality rates related to antimicrobial resistance. For Nigeria, he says, the issue needs to be enlightened to the public, more especially how to avoid it.
Globally, like you pointed out, this antimicrobial resistance is a silent pandemic, silent in the fact that people don't see the mortality as it were. It showed that West Africa, the West African Sub-Saharan region, had the highest mortality related to antimicrobial resistance. That mortality is like for every 100,000 people, 227 actually die as a result of antimicrobial resistance.
In her remark, the organizer of the event, Mrs. Estelle Baduwe, a pharmacist, said the program is an opportunity to bring different systems and strategies to see how to combat antimicrobial resistance in Nigeria.
So the antimicrobial stewardship is a mechanism how we look at this. Resistant antimicrobials is basically the fact that the drugs are no longer working. The drugs that normally work to treat infections like bacteria, fungi is no longer working. So we're trying to see how we can combat this issue and really help to deliver quality healthcare in Nigeria and beyond.
During the event, papers were presented by different resource persons on the importance of avoiding abuse of drugs and improper prescription and incomplete dosages, with poor infection control, with poor hygiene as part of things that causes antimicrobial resistance. Zahra Unazir, reporting for Global Television News.
In a renewed effort to tackle the rising security threats across Nigeria's campuses, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, in partnership with Bacchus Guard, has convened a two-day national workshop which is aimed at developing a comprehensive security master plan for tertiary institutions. Now, the initiative brings together key stakeholders to chart sustainable measures for safeguarding students and staff. Ramsey Enoch Agbo was there at the National University Commission headquarters in Abuja, venue of the workshop, and now reports.
The two-day workshop brought together security experts, university administrators, government representatives, and technology providers to address what organizers describe as an urgent national priority. Chairman, Board of Trustee, TETFund, Bello Masari, while declaring the workshop open, says campus security is a shared responsibility.
This banditry will not flourish. Okay, police are not doing their job. Are you doing your job? Military are not doing. Are you doing your job? The people living in those isolated places in forests and they feed, they clothe. How do they do it? Without the active connivance of the localities surrounding them?
Executive Secretary of TETFund, Sonny Echono, says the proposed security master plan will provide a unified framework for surveillance, intelligence sharing, emergency response, and staff training across all tertiary institutions.
If they go to the marketplace and pick 30 people, it will not make enough impact as going to a school to go and pick 5 or 10 students. Because people know that students are usually helpless, they are vulnerable, they represent the hope and aspirations of all of us as a people.
The director of Baka's Guard in his speech says tertiary institutions are citadels of learning. Therefore, students and instructors need a rest of mind.
It's only in the campus you will find everybody. You have even some security personnel living on campus. Police, soldiers, SSS and all this.
Participants at the workshop expressed optimism that once adopted, the master plan will help strengthen campus safety.
Well, at the end of this workshop, we expect to have a strategic plans that will make our institution have a better improved security arrangement.
This is a wake-up call for us to do better than before. In fact, personally, I've taken note of certain reforms.
Taking it down and implementing it in our various institutions, it will help to bring down the security challenges and insecurity in most tertiary institutions.
Due to the high rate of security situation in the country, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, in collaboration with Baka's Guard, have put together a workshop to train and intimate stakeholders on how they can put up surveillance as it has to do with security situations in various tertiary institutions around the country. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global TV News.
You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, FIRS, France partners on digital tax reform. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. Now in business now, the Federal Inland Revenue Service has signed a landmark cooperation pact with France aimed at modernizing Nigeria's tax administration through digital transformation, capacity development, and improved cross-border enforcement. Now the agreement comes barely weeks before the formal transition into the Nigeria Revenue Service by January 2026. The Revenue Agency's chairman, George Adedeji, and the French ambassador to Nigeria, Marc van Basten, signed the Memorandum of Understanding on behalf of both countries. The disclosure was contained in a statement issued by his special advisor on media, Dare Adekambi. Senate has taken a firm stance on soaring domestic airfares, summoning the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, alongside airline operators and aviation regulators. This move follows growing concerns over sharp price increase that threatened national mobility, especially ahead of the festive season. National Assembly correspondent Topsy Gimba.
The Senate by Senator Buhari Abdul Fattah, who warned that skyrocketing airfares on key South-South and South-East routes could disrupt travel plans this Yuletide season. Data presented in plenary revealed that one-way ticket prices have climbed by as much as 150%, with fares now exceeding 300,000 naira compared to the pre-festive average of about 120,000 naira. Further analysis shows some ticket prices reaching a staggering of 400,000 to 600,000 naira on major routes like Abuja to Lagos. Lawmakers linked this surge in airfares to worsening highway insecurity and poor road network, which driven more Nigerians to choose air travel, intensifying
the price hike of airline and finding it very difficult. Just one way, not even round trip, is too exorbitant. As you rightly said, when the synopsis of the motion was given, that the minimum wage for Nigerians is 70,000 naira. It means a civil intervention by the Central Bank of Nigeria rates. And up to now, and I know it's still on.
However, the Senate has tasked its committees to meet with Minister Kiamo, airline representatives, and regulatory authorities. They are expected to explain the causes behind the fare hikes and propose strategies to stabilize air travel costs, ensuring affordable flights for Nigerians during the holidays.
That we should, as a matter of urgency, invite the relevant stakeholders in the aviation industry, including the Minister of Aviation, NCA, and FAN and others, to a close meeting with the Senate to discuss to alleviate the suffering of people and avoid disruption.
The Aviation Ministry and airline operators are to provide
one audit queries. National Assembly correspondent Anete Pat and social media for children under 16.
The new regulation requires
welcomed by many parents and child advocates. That has been criticized by major technology companies and free speech advocates. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called it a proud day for families and cast the law as proof that policymakers can curb online harms that can outpack traditional safeguards. Sporadic gunfire and explosions have been reported as M23 rebels advance towards a key city in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, an offensive that has forced thousands to flee across the border into Burundi. Residents and military sources said soldiers were fleeing the assault on Berea, the last government-held city in the mineral-rich region. U.S. President Donald Trump brokered a peace deal last week between Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwanda's Paul Kagame to end the long-running conflict, but fighting has continued. South Korea and Japan have reacted under Chinese and Russian military aircraft conducted joint patrols around two countries with both Seoul and Tokyo scrambling jets. South Korea said it has protested with representatives of China and Russia, while Japan said it has convened its serious concerns over national security. According to Tokyo, two Russian Tu-95 nuclear-capable bombers on Tuesday flew from the Sea of Japan to Reserve with two Chinese H-6 bombers in East China Sea. They conducted a joint flight around the country. In sports stories now, Arsenal have suffered another injury blow ahead of their Champions League against Club Brugge. Max Doman has packed up an ankle problem and is expected to miss the next 2 months. This was confirmed by David Onstrin of the Athletics. According to David Domo, injured himself during a friendly against Manchester United and is not expected to undergo surgery. Now that's it on AM News. Now a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Up next is Global Morning. Stay tuned.